we're revealing Ben Affleck's most insane paychecks across multiple major films, and some of them will seriously surprise you. Two young, ambitious actors wrote a script about a math genius working as a janitor in Boston. What they didn't know at the time, that this script would make them Hollywood stars. Good Will Hunting became one of the biggest surprises of the late 90s. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon wrote the script and sold it for $600,000. Affleck also played a supporting role in the movie, which was made for just $10 million. It became a legendary movie. It made over $225 million worldwide, and more than half of that came from the US alone. After the movie blew up, producer Harvey Weinstein gave Affleck a $500,000 bonus, quiet and off the record, making his total paycheck around $800,000. But that wasn't the only success. The film was nominated for 9 Oscars and won 2, including Best Original Screenplay. They sure could write a script, right? So after winning an Oscar and landing on every studio's radar, Affleck seemed unstoppable. However, a few years later, his name was attached to a film that Hollywood still hasn't forgotten, for all the wrong reasons. In Giggly, he plays a low-level mobster hired to kidnap the brother of a federal prosecutor. Jennifer Lopez joins him as a tough, no-nonsense enforcer. The two had chemistry off-screen, but on-screen it didn't land. The movie was meant to be a dark comedy, but it didn't work. Critics gave it terrible reviews, and most people didn't even bother to see it. It only made about $7 million, even though the studio had spent $75 million to make it. Affleck, though, made $12.5 million. But if you thought getting paid $12.5 million for a flop was insane, just wait until you hear what he got for a blockbuster. Although Giggly flopped big time and it crushed Ben Affleck's reputation, Armageddon sure didn't. Back in 1998, Affleck was seen as a rising star. In Armageddon, he plays an oil driller who gets sent to space to help stop an asteroid from wiping out Earth. He worked alongside Bruce Willis and Liv Tyler, with Michael Bay directing and Jerry Bruckheimer producing. The movie had a huge budget of $140 million and earned over $553 million worldwide. It was one of the biggest box office hits of the year. So naturally, you would say Affleck received a big paycheck. Well, it was a total of $600,000. Obviously, that is a lot of money, but not regarding the earnings of the movie. I'm on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of April. Can you please help me reach that goal? Thank you. Oh, and just wait till you hear how much he made in the next movie. After drilling into asteroids, Affleck took on something different. In Daredevil, he played Matt Murdock, a blind lawyer who takes down criminals at night without anyone knowing who he really is. The movie had dark streets, rooftop chases, and a lot of fighting. It was packed with early 2000s style, leather suits, loud music, and slow-motion punches. Jennifer Garner played Elektra, and Colin Farrell played Bullseye, a hitman who could turn anything into a weapon. Reviews weren't great, but the movie still did well. It made $179 million at the box office on a $78 million budget. Affleck got paid $11.5 million for the role. That's almost 20 times more than the $600,000 he received in Armageddon. So, yeah, not bad for a guy swinging around in red leather. But if you thought red leather and rooftop fights were wild, Affleck took a role that would blur the line between fame and tragedy. So, Affleck had been playing larger-than-life characters. However, his next role took him somewhere quieter and much heavier. In Hollywoodland, he played George Reeves, the actor who once wore the Superman suit on TV. Years later, Reeves was found dead in his bedroom with a gun nearby. Some called it suicide. Others weren't so sure. The film follows a private investigator who starts digging into what really happened behind closed doors. The story moves through studio backrooms, strained relationships, and the pressure to keep up appearances. So how did the movie appear in the box office? Well, it flopped. It had a budget of $14 million, and Hollywoodland just made around $16.8 million worldwide. And Affleck? He earned $2.8 million. But if you thought $2.8 million was a solid payday, just wait until you see how much he made next. Affleck had already done romance. He'd done action. But this time, he was thrown into both. At war, in the air, and under attack. In Pearl Harbor, he played a US pilot caught in a love triangle just as the world was about to fall apart. It was a dramatic mix of romance, action, and a massive recreation of the 1941 attack. The movie was directed by Michael Bay and had everything you'd expect. Loud, intense, and built for the big screen. The budget was huge. around $140 million, and it brought in over $450 million at the box office. Reviews weren't great, but it still packed theaters worldwide. Affleck was paid $10 million for the role. For a film built on scale and spectacle, his paycheck finally matched the size of the screen he was on. But just when it seemed like Affleck had done it all, he took on a role that made everyone question everything. In Gone Girl, Affleck played Nick Dunn, a husband whose wife suddenly disappears. At first, he seems like the worried spouse. However, as the story moves on, things start to shift, and people begin to wonder what he's hiding. The movie was based on the best-selling book and directed by David Fincher. It had a tense, sharp tone and a lot of quiet moments that turned uncomfortable fast. Rosamund Pike played the missing wife, and their dynamic kept people guessing the whole way through. It wasn't a huge action film, but it landed like one. The budget was around $61 million, and it made over $370 million worldwide. Affleck got $10 million for the role, and this time, he didn't even need to run or fight. But for the next movie, he did need to run. Taking over a role made famous by Harrison Ford isn't exactly low pressure. However, that's exactly what Affleck walked into. In The Sum of All Fears, he played Jack Ryan, a young CIA analyst suddenly pulled into a nuclear crisis. A bomb goes off during a football game, the US and Russia are about to go to war, and he's the one trying to stop it from spiraling out of control. It was a big-budget political thriller with global stakes, and Affleck at the center of it. The film had a budget of around $68 million and brought in more than $193 million at the box office. Ben Affleck received $10 million for his role, but for the next movie, his paycheck wasn't that much. In Argo, he played a CIA agent who sets up a phony Hollywood production to rescue 6 Americans hiding in Iran during the 1979 hostage crisis. The plan sounds ridiculous, but it actually happened. Affleck didn't just star in the film. He directed and co-produced it too, taking full creative control. The result? A tense, smart, and surprisingly funny film that pulled in both audiences and critics. The movie had a budget of around $44.5 million and brought in more than $232 million at the box office. Ben Affleck earned $5 million for the project, and his production later won Best Picture at the Oscars. Affleck had played lawyers, CIA agents, and real-life figures. But stepping into the Batsuit was something else entirely. In Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, he took on one of the most iconic roles in movie history. This wasn't the playful Batman from the past. This version was older, angrier, and ready to go head-to-head with Superman. It was a massive production, packed with CGI and years of hype. The budget hit around $250 million, and the film pulled in more than $873 million worldwide. Not everyone loved it, but it was one of the highest-grossing movies of the year. Affleck's paycheck? $15 million. It was his biggest yet, by far. But if you thought Ben Affleck's paycheck jumped, check out how much Sean Connery's paychecks jumped all over the place. It will leave you speechless. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.